are joined by Allan Duncan, the People's Party of Canada candidate in Central Okanagan-Similkameen-Nicola. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's good to be here.
And a huge area that this riding covers. Have you been able to get around to people in all of these hinterlands and talk to voters?
Yeah, most places. Met people from Logan Lake, Merritt, down in Karamias, Summerland, Peachland, West Kelowna, and we got a group in Princeton as well. So yeah, it's quite a big area, and it's very beautiful.
So this People's Party of Canada, people instantly think of Maxime Bernier. That's some amazing things. You've got well over 300 candidates, candidates fanning out all across the country. Yeah. And you were saying this is the fastest growing new party in history?
Yeah, in Canadian history. In just 1 year, yeah, we've fielded candidates all across Canada for 338 seats that are open for competition. And we have over 40,000 members and growing. So yeah, there's a lot of enthusiasm growing in our network. And so yeah, we're really excited and happy about it.
So people are pretty familiar with the other parties. You're kind of the new one. Right-wing fringe, that's maybe not fair.
Yeah, yeah, we think we're more right of center. We think the group has moved left of center, more left than they've ever been. So we're remaining right of center, conservative, fiscal conservative, and more libertarian as opposed to authoritarian, like more personal freedoms and smaller government, less government involvement in your life. And so that's kind of where we are located on the political spectrum.
When I think about the People's Party, a couple of issues tend to sort of be there for me. There's immigration and there is climate change. A couple of issues that people talk a fair bit about. Are those prominent issues for people that gravitate towards your party?
Yeah, those are pretty strong issues, and I think it's probably not necessarily the concept of immigration, but just how it's been managed. It seems a little chaotic probably for a lot of people.
Well, we do have some of this sort of emergency kind of migration we see happening more in Eastern Canada than here, and I guess there's some concern that we need to kind of keep it to the legal immigration more than we are.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those cases are still like being processed, and there's a lot of people waiting that are claiming refugee status, especially coming from the States.
Right.
And so that'll be determined how that all works out. And so I think there's first, not for everybody, but for quite a lot of people, especially in the bigger cities, I think it's causing them a lot of anxiety. That's not usual.
There's also a lot of anxiety attached to the climate change issue right now, and I think there's a few people in the race for the seat you're seeking that think that we have really not done enough, and that they're harnessing a real sense with some people that we've failed in the last 3 decades to really get going in addressing that issue. But your party, I guess, is saying that people are getting too panicky on that topic. Am I right?
Yeah, so there's a spectrum of opinion on climate change, and we would be a group or a location where different opinions on the issue of climate change is. And so there's a lot of different opinions in between the two poles of people that are really worried about it and people that aren't worried about it at all.
You got alarmists at one end and deniers at the other.
Yeah, to use like the strong rhetorical kind of labels.
Right.
But you'd be surprised all the people in between and in our own party, in supporters of our party, we are in one room and we're having a lot of discussions and conversations about it. And so there's a lot of people that have opinions and care about the environment that don't necessarily find themselves on either pole of the discussion. And so,
but your party's not the climate denier party?
Some people are, but not everyone. And so it's interesting how in the party we've found a way to have civil discussions about it and think about like new technology and green technology, next gen technology about it. And so I think that's probably the place where Canadians have to come together, because in the Canadian family, perhaps we're not getting along
Yeah.
in that area. And so the voices need to be heard, I think, on either end of the spectrum. And then we can, if you're minimizing the opinions of people, you're not going to be able to find a way to bridge it together and work on things. And so perhaps that's part of my personality, that I can be in that tension, but I'm finding that in our party as well.
Well, in the broader community, political discussions seem to be getting more and more difficult to have, because everybody seems to live in their own silo these days, and we seem further and further apart.
Yeah, and yeah, that's not good. The tribes that are forming, right?
Right. So you find your party's a welcome place for people to have different opinions without getting at each other's throats.
I find it is. Perhaps it hasn't been labeled that way at the beginning when we're trying to figure out who these people are, who this new kid on the block is.
Right. It is a bit messy forming a new party, right? Even here we've seen some turmoil, but
Yeah.
At this stage, for this election, when you see a brand new party, sometimes something to shoot for is to establish sort of a beachhead, to get enough votes where maybe next time around people say, you know what, that party could actually represent us. Look how many they got the first time out.
Yeah.
So are you looking for that sort of a performance?
I'm looking for the best performance we can, and I think people in Canada and even in the local ridings here are looking for new options, looking for something other than the same old, and I think that the PPC could be that for a lot of people, and so I have high hopes and high expectations that we're going to shake things up and be a voice for Central Okanagan-Similkameen-Nicola in Ottawa.
All right. Thanks very much. Great to meet you, Allan.
Yeah, same.
Thank you. And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.